Buy an Akiya with a patch of farmland attached, thinking of it as a garden or extra space. And there's a rule almost nobody mentions until after the offer is in. That land doesn't answer to the same rules as the house sitting on it, and you don't get to just decide what happens to it. Japan's Agricultural Land Act treats farmland, called nouchi, as a fundamentally different legal category from ordinary residential land, regardless of who currently owns it or what they would like to do with it next. Buying or otherwise acquiring land officially classified as farmland requires approval from the local agricultural committee, a body most home buyers never have reason to know exists until a listing includes a rice paddy or a vegetable field alongside the house. The approval process itself, under Article 3 of the Act, requires submitting an application with an actual business plan attached, not a vague statement of interest. Committees generally expect the applicant to be seriously engaged in farming, often full-time, rather than owning the land as a hobby or a buffer around a house. This is not a formality designed to be waved through. It exists specifically to keep Japan's agricultural land in active agricultural use, which means a buyer with no farming plans at all can find that exact piece of land is the one part of an otherwise simple purchase that doesn't go through. None of this necessarily kills a deal. It usually means the farmland portion needs to be handled separately from the house, excluded from the purchase entirely, formally reclassified before the sale if the seller is willing, or, for a buyer genuinely willing to commit to working it, approached as its own approval process with its own paperwork and its own timeline. What it is not is something to notice for the first time at closing. A listing that casually mentions land included alongside the house is sometimes describing two different legal transactions wearing one photograph. An Akiya's listing photo rarely draws a line between the land you can do anything you want with and the land a government committee still has an opinion about. That line exists anyway, whether or not anyone points it out before the offer goes in. For a buyer who has no interest in becoming a working farmer, the safest assumption is to ask exactly where that line falls before assuming the whole property, dirt included, is simply theirs to use. If this made Japan's empty house market a little clearer, subscribe to Akiya Handbook, the channel that explains how Japan's cheap houses actually work, honestly, and without selling you anything. There is also a free guide waiting in the description, the Akiya Buyer's Starter Guide, How to Buy a Cheap House in Japan Without Getting Burned. 11 chapters on the truth about so-called free houses, the hidden costs, and who should not buy. No hype, and completely free. The link is below. Thanks for watching.